everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Sandy.
And this is the Italian American Stories podcast. So today's episode is actually a first for the podcast. We're talking about baseball.
Yeah, I don't think we have before.
I don't think we have either. I was trying to think if we've talked about any athletes or sports, and I don't think we have. But this one is special because it is not just any baseball player. It is a female baseball player from right here in Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Her name was Lucille Colacito, and she was born Lucille Apulese on December 27th, 1921 in Florence, Colorado. And I actually first came across her story thanks to a post on the Colorado Historical Society's Instagram page. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to learn more about her because we know about Italian-American baseball players, but I never thought about like the women softball players or baseball players.
Right. Yeah.
It's just,
I've never thought of that either. I didn't even know that they had them way back then.
While I was researching this, it was crazy. I ran across, this is kind of for our Denver listeners, there was a lot of women softball players in the 30s and 40s. They had a lot of leagues in Denver for women softball players.
Wow.
Yeah, like the Denver Dry Goods, they had a softball league.
Really?
Yeah, how cool is that?
Yeah. I don't remember like growing up there, even in school.
Hearing about it.
Do you want to sign up to play softball or anything for girls?
Isn't that weird? So I don't know, but so there isn't a ton of information about Lucille out there. So this is probably going to be a shorter episode, but her story is definitely worth telling because she was one of the many remarkable women who stepped up to the plate to play professional baseball during World War II when so many men were serving overseas. So if you've seen the movie A League of Their Own, you kind of have an idea of the world that Lucille played in. In fact, I've actually been diving into the history of the Rockford Peaches, which was the real team featured in that film. And I'm hoping to share more stories about Italian-American women who, not just that team, they actually played all over the country. So there was a lot of Italian-American women who played softball. So we might have to do those episodes, like 2 or 3 women baseball players in one episode just to tell their stories.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Got to still get them out there somehow.
Right.
But for now, let's step up to the plate and talk about Lucille. So Lucille, like we said, she was born in Florence, Colorado on December 27th, 1921. And her father, Joseph, he was born in Italy in 1896 and immigrated to America in 1912. Her mother, Catherine, she was born in Colorado in 1904. So Lucille was the second of 4 children born to the couple. And when the family lived in Florence, Joseph worked in the Colorado coal mines. But later on, the family actually ended up moving to Denver, where Joseph became a mold maker at a steelworks company. And Lucille, she grew up in the North Denver area, which we've talked about before. That's what kind of known as Denver's Little Italy back in the day. And she attended high school there, though I could not find the exact school, no matter where I looked, whether it was Ancestry. I'm assuming North Denver High School. I guess she could have went to St. Joseph's.
Well,
if she traveled, I would bet it was North though. And it actually is kind of funny because it goes back to what you were saying about when you went to high school in North Denver. North High School didn't have sports really for girls. Well, whatever high school she went to, which we're assuming is North High, her school didn't have organized sports for girls either.
Yeah, I just don't remember that. Swimming, I remember that.
Swimming, yeah.
Like synchronized swimming and stuff for girls, but maybe it's just something I didn't get into. But.
That's true, yeah. You're like, I don't remember. So she did have limited formal athletic opportunities, but that did not stop her because by 1939, Lucille was actually playing amateur softball for local teams, including the Denver Dry Goods softball team, where she was a catcher.
Oh, wow.
So like I said, I was running across all sorts of softball teams for girls back in the day. So it's kind of cool. In 1941, Lucille married Michael Colacito, and I think that they may have met through softball because Michael was actually a softball manager for a women's team called Joe's Caves. So that's definitely like,
right.
They might have known each other growing up in North Denver, but I bet that's how they started dating and stuff.
I bet so too.
So after they married, Lucille and Michael, they stayed in the North Denver area. But Michael, he was in the military and he served as a sergeant in the U.S. Army. And he was actually stationed during World War II at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which was a prisoner of war camp. And it's kind of interesting because a lot of prisoner of war camps during World War II. Of course, they held Japanese, they held some Germans, and they held Italians.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting. I kind of want to look into that.
Which one that held.
Yeah, like were there Italians there?
The one out on the Eastern Plains was the Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and then we talked about that one in Montana that held Italians. So yeah, it would just be interesting if, because his parents were from Italy.
Right.
But while Michael was away, Lucille kept playing softball. And in 1943, her talent actually caught national attention. And she was invited to attend spring training for the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League in Illinois.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty cool. And so Lucille was drafted to the Kenosha Comets. And I thought this was kind of cute because if you've seen the movie A League of Their Own, they were the Rockford Peaches. So like their outfit was like that peachy color. But the Comets wore a green skirt dress thing. And she actually played 2 years for the team. And she was the first woman from Denver to reach the softball big leagues.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. The Denver Post featured her in an article, and they were, just talking about how it was really cool that she was from Denver and she got drafted.
Right.
But in the article, they actually talked about expectations of these softball players because it's the 1940s. So they have expectations of women. So the league, they had a counselor for the women, and she was in charge of the girls who left their homes to go play ball. So I'm going to read this part of the article because it's really interesting. The counselor's name is Frances McCune. So the article says, Frances McCune, head of Chicago's Rough Tiffany School, the counselors will teach the players posture and etiquette and conversation graces, how to choose and wear clothes, how to put on their lipstick, how to do their hair, and presumably how to take a third strike like a lady.
Wow.
Every day will be Ladies' Day in this league, she explained. During the day, the girls will sharpen their batting eyes and perfect their fielding, but when they leave the clubhouse, their work will only be half done. At night, they will develop their poise until they find themselves saying thank you to the umpire. If in strengthening their personalities, the girls develop a greater attraction for men, that will be all right with Miss McCune too. So can they just play softball?
Telling the umpire thing.
Yes, exactly. Do you want him to curtsy the umpire too? It's like, just let him play ball. But so the article goes on to say, but leaving nothing only half done, Miss McCune intends to show the feminine players how to repel men when necessary. The brush-off technique is almost as important as the come on these days, she explained. Just because a girl is a ball player is no reason she is not as feminine as a ballet dancer, she said. My girls are probably more ladylike than most girls. They never smoke in public.
In public.
In public. And so that's the end of Miss McCune's little statement there.
Well, that last part was good.
I kind of like that. Yeah. Like, hey, like you can say no. Like this is how you do that. So I just thought that was funny. And it's been a long time since I've seen A League of Their Own, but I kind of remember this part of the movie where they were like teaching, because some of in the movie, and if I'm wrong, my bad, but in the movie, I want to say like some of the girls, they came from farms and stuff. And so the lady in the movie was like trying to teach them how to stand straight, how to do things. And the farm girls were like, what are you talking about? So it's a great movie. I really like it.
They're like, plow through it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, why would I do that? But Lucille's best season came in 1944 when she broke several of her own records. And while she was playing for the Comets, she earned $54 a week. And $54 in today's money is about $990.
That was a good wage
she was getting that a week.
Jeez.
I know, that's pretty good, especially when you think, wartime and all of that. So that's definitely a decent paycheck for a female athlete at that time. So while she played, she was primarily a catcher. During the off season, Lucille, she would return to Denver to visit family. But while she was there, she stayed active and she would play other sports like bowling. And in March of 1945, she told the Denver Post that she was actually looking forward to the season starting again so that she could get some rest. After leaving the league, Lucille, she continued to play softball in Colorado for many years. In fact, actually, the teams that she played for, they actually won 2 state championships. So,
oh, good for her.
Yeah. Her and Michael, they went on to have a son that they named Mike. And during their marriage, Michael, he worked almost 40 years as a supervisor for Samsonite luggage. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
But after Lucille's softball days kind of wound down, she became an avid golfer, and she earned a lot of recognition in the Denver papers for her skills and even achieving a hole-in-one.
Wow.
I know, that's pretty cool. In 1984, she was inducted into the Denver Metro Amateur Softball Hall of Fame. And 4 years later, in 1988, she was honored as part of the Women in Baseball permanent display at the Baseball Hall of Fame Museum in New York. And that pays tribute to all of the women baseball players.
That's really nice.
I know, it's really cool. There's a super cute photo that I'll post of her. I think she's in her 70s, late 60s. I don't know. It's just this cute little photo of her, and she's holding a softball baseball that says Kenosha on it because that's who she played for.
That's where she started.
Yeah, and it was either the 1984 or the 88 Hall of Fame ones. They took the photo of her, but it's such a cute little photo. So we'll post that on
cute.
Instagram.
She made quite the name for herself.
She really did. Yeah, it's really cool. I can't wait to dive into all these other women too and start telling their stories. So Lucille, she passed away on January 30th, 1998 at the age of 76. And after her death, Michael moved to California to be closer to their son. And he passed away in 2005 at the age of 90. He was born in 1915, so they lived pretty long lives.
Right.
Yeah. So Lucille, her career may have not been a very long one, but it was groundbreaking. I mean, she's definitely a trailblazer for sure. So not just for Italian American women in sports, but kind of women, all of those women who played during that time.
Yeah.
And even now. So
yeah, because that's probably a scary step to make it that day.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And going back to that movie, A League of Their Own, Tom Hanks plays their coach. And, he's kind of a washed up guy. I think he used to play baseball or he used to coach men's baseball. And so he was at the beginning, like, he could have cared less about it. He was like, this is not, women should not be playing this sport. I don't care about this. Of course, the girls grew on him, but I'm sure that they were treated that way a lot. And I think even like the fans, they were probably like,
right,
we are not coming out to watch women play baseball.
That's why I thought that counselor that they had was a positive thing, because a lot of the public would look down on them. So I thought that was a positive thing to teach them that it's fine to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't have to be degraded because you're out there doing this.
Definitely. Actually, I'm glad you said that. I didn't think of that because in a way, from today's lens, when I look at that, like, oh, you have to have certain posture and stuff. But I think you're onto something though, because like I look at it from today's lens and I'm like, oh, who cares? Like, just let them play baseball.
Right.
But maybe she was setting them up for success. Like we have to kind of almost put on an act for the fans. Like, they're already not accepting of us playing baseball. So we're going to say thank you and stuff so that people can buy into it a little bit more. So you're right. That's a good point. Like I said, this is a kind of a shorter episode, but definitely one worth telling. And I always love telling a Colorado story.
Yeah.
And Colorado's our home. So I had to get this one out there. But we'll post photos of Lucille. There's some pretty good photos of her out there playing the game and a couple of her, like the one with her baseball and stuff like that. So we'll post those so that you can see the woman behind the glove.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and follow our podcast. We're on all of the social media platforms and all of the podcast platforms. And we hope you enjoyed listening to the story of Lucille Colacito, and we hope you come back to listen to more stories about Italian Americans. See you next time.
See you next time.